an assistant coach. David Vanderpool, what are you doing? Did he catch it? That should be a technical foul. And hello, the game was a 1-point game. We got a lot to talk about today, but let's start there. How did the NBA miss a coach deflecting a pass, leading to a steal for his own team? Wizards-Nets last night was a great game. Spencer Dinwiddie had a chance to stick it to his old team in the end. I thought that was dropping, but no. Nets win by 1. Remember that 1 point. Because halfway through the fourth quarter, Nets assistant David Vanderpool's hand gets in the way of the pass. Play never stopped. Steal for Brooklyn. Kyle Kuzma, who was with Washington, said horse bleep. After the game, the refs said they didn't see it and there was no mechanism for review. Harry Lyles Jr., how did this happen? And considering how close the game was, did Washington get robbed of a win?
I think you say that they can. I think we can all agree it's unfortunate when we can point to something that has no place in the game
it was
to
right
say that
there.
it caused the victory. Correct. So I also would say, though, that, it's not always just that one thing, right? Like how Kuzma had 5 turnovers. Any of those 5 turnovers could have been 2 points that they needed to win the basketball game. But I will say this. I would like to show a measure of love, I guess, towards the referees because they have one of the least redeeming jobs in all of sports. Nobody tells you when you've done a good job. You always hear about when something goes wrong. So, look, I think because of the 2-minute report, it's designed to hold the referees in check. That's enough for them to where it's like, okay, that's a problem.
Harry Lyles, I appreciate your love. The rest of the panel thinks you're crazy. Mina Kimes, I'll bring you in here. Did the Wizards get robbed here? How did they miss this call?
First of all, we do not need to show love to the referees. That was bonkers. I mean, rewatching it, he was right there. He was looking at him. It's astounding that he missed it. That said, I hate to blame a single missed call for the outcome of a game, even if it ends up being 1 point, because, there's a butterfly effect. You never know what happens. If one team gets the ball, the Wizards should have gotten the ball. Something could have gone a different way. What we can say is this was incredibly embarrassing for NBA officiating, without a doubt, the fact that they missed such an obvious call. And it's also really embarrassing for David Vanderpool. I don't know what he was thinking in that moment. I'm sure it wasn't his intention to interfere because that would be insane, but it reminded me a little bit of when Mike Tomlin stepped on the field during the Jacoby Jones kickoff return, the infamous Ravens-Steelers game. I don't think Tomlin meant it either, but it was a huge blunder, and he was fined for it. And I think the Nets should be fined for this as well.
Kimberly Martin, what did you see last night in the NBA?
It's funny Mina brought up Mike Tomlin because I was thinking I haven't seen anything so blatantly ridiculous since Sal Alosi tripped a player on the Jets sideline. And if you're not a Jets fan, look that up because it was ridiculous. But the mechanism to fix this is the eyeballs. Like the refs are right there. But there is a little ref fatigue for me right now. I feel like I listened to the Cowboys complain about the refs in that last play. The score was 109-103. We had like Kuzma had a 3-point attempt. Dinwiddie had 3-point attempts. Like this is not just about one play. We talk about we want the refs to do their job. Well, hey Wizards, do your job at the end of the day. I'm sick of complaining about the refs.
And Justin Tinsley.
Yeah, as everybody said, there's a lot to unpack here. If the Wizards lose by 20, this is not leading the show. It doesn't even make the show. But they lost by 1 on the play where they should have got a technical foul that gives them a free throw. I mean, look, it sounds easy to say this should have been reviewable, but like you said, it wasn't a reviewable play, and the Wizards were out of challenges. This isn't Woody Hayes punching a Clemson player on the sideline, but come on, man. The only feasible thing to do right now is you gotta find the coach, maybe suspend him for a game or 2. But I think that's it. I don't think the guy deserves to lose his job. Again, I just don't think that at all. But Kuz is right. It is horse bleep.
Last word, Harry Lyles Jr.
This is the only second most egregious mistake by a Nets coach. The first being Jason Kidd saying, bump into me to spill his drink.
All right, everybody's got references. See, I just thought this was so bizarre. We've never seen anything like this before. And you all gave me incredible references. You're going to be rolling in B-roll the entire show now. Extra work. Okay, so we'll move on. It's possible the Los Angeles Lakers are not a good basketball team. Check out how their post-game show started last night. I just thought James Worthy is all Lakers fans right now. 111, 104, the loss to the Pacers. And it was noticed by some viewers of the game, just a couple, that Frank Vogel placed Russell Westbrook on the bench for the last 3 minutes. This just drew the attention of one or two people. So, Mina, is this something you see sticking? What do you think it portends that Vogel is making a move here with Westbrook?
Well, it should stick. It was the right move. Russell Westbrook has averaged 2 points per game in the fourth quarter the last 5 games. He has been an unmitigated disaster for the Lakers, and that's not even talking about his defense. The question for me is what it means for Vogel's future, which, when you're getting reports daily that a coach still has his job, he's probably not for long. But that said, afterwards, there were also reports that he got internal support with his decision to bench Westbrook, which suggests to me there might be a longer leash for him than we anticipated. Ultimately, I think he probably will get scapegoated for this season unfairly. I really don't know what you do with his ingredients. But at the moment, I think he keeps his job, and I think we continue to not see Russell Westbrook in the fourth quarter.
Kimberly, what do you think the benching of Westbrook portends for the Lakers?
So Vogel has 44 million reasons not to bench Russell Westbrook. I mean, the guy is on the hot seat. I give him credit for doing that. As Mina said, he's gotten support for that. He's not good. And what got me was LeBron postgame. He was asked about this. And LeBron literally is like, I got nothing. I'm not touching this because I don't want to be negative, because he doesn't want to say his boy looks like trash out there. And that's really what it comes down to. Russell Westbrook is... He's not lost. He is lost. He is absolutely lost. And I don't know what the fix is, because even with LeBron, even with a healthy AD, even with Westbrook, that whole experiment wasn't working, and it's definitely not working now.
Whew. I think we were all expecting like another word to come out. He's not good at the end of games right now, or some qualifier, but you just put it bluntly. Justin Tinsley, what do you think the benching of Westbrook means?
I mean, Mina and Kimberly, I'm not even going to try to follow that, because they're absolutely right in terms of the on-the-court product. But I do want to take it off the court, man. I do think everything Russ does is not ill-intentioned. You know he wants to win. You can see it as an emotion, and it's just not working for him. Look, I struggle with anxiety. I struggle with it a lot, and I want to find success, and I want to find success in the way that I know how to find it. And sometimes you have to be able to adapt. And it's hard to adapt when you're in a position like Russ. You hear him talk about how much he loves being back in LA. His kids are there. He's not playing well. And he knows if I don't play well, then daddy can't be in the same hometown where my kids are. The hardest part is to tell yourself you're not the reason for your own self-sabotage. And it's just so hard to get there. And I'm not saying Russ is going through that. I'm just saying, as a person who struggles with anxiety, that's what it feels like, and that's what it looks like, what he's going through on and off the court.
Well, I'll allow for that. It's also, I mean, he's not ever been a 60% shooter in the fourth quarter of games. Harry Lyles Jr., I'll bring you in here, what the bench means.
So I think there's really two things here, right? I think this does mean that, the Lakers organization is kind of conceding to Frank Vogel, okay, there's been reports that your job is in jeopardy. We're going to let you coach this thing the way that you want to. And if that means he's getting support to bench Russell Westbrook, then I think that's important. The other thing I think here is something that Carmelo Anthony actually said after the game, which is that he said he personally had a very difficult time adjusting to a change that happened last night with Russell Westbrook, where, hey, you are not the superstar that you used to be, and that's okay, but that doesn't mean you can't still be an incredibly valuable piece on this team. So he said that, it's incumbent upon us to try to help him with that transition. And I think for the Lakers, a great benefit is having Melo on your team to do that, because he was almost out of the league, and now he's gotten back to a place where he's fine. Hopefully they could do the same for Russell Westbrook.
That's a real good point, Harry. And as you just said, it took Carmelo a year away from the game and away from the league to really have that register. We've been Horn. We'll move on. One more story here. NFL preview to the preview. To the preview to the preview. Let me make this very easy for you guys, and the music will guide you through it as well. 8 remaining Super Bowl hopefuls. You can't get there without a quarterback. Some in this group already have a ring. One in this group happens to be the GOAT. One is coming off maybe statistically the most perfect quarterback playoff game ever. Kimberly A. Martin, rank 'em. Who is the QB you most want this weekend?
I might shock you here. My heart wants to say Josh Allen because I believe in what Buffalo's building, but I have no feelings and I don't like emotion. So the answer is Patrick Mahomes. And that might shock you. That might shock you because But Josh is coming off of 5 touchdowns. Guess what? So is Patrick Mahomes. This is a Kansas City team that's 6-1 at home in the playoffs with Mahomes, 5-0 the last playoff games. This is a good team. And I talked to Travis Kelce and Orlando Brown Jr. leading into the game and after the game. And they talked about how they are just now hitting their peak. And that's a scary thing. Josh Allen is trying to get to where Patrick Mahomes is, and that's MVP caliber. That's Super Bowl champion. This could be the weekend that Josh Allen proves and has his moment, but Patrick Mahomes, we've seen lots of magical Mahomes moments to this point.
Mina, to go with all that alliteration there, please.
So I am nervous not picking Mahomes and Brady and Rodgers.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, the football gods are going to smite me for naming anyone else. Lightning is going to come down. But watching Josh Allen last weekend was a religious experience.
Wow.
He pitched a perfect game. I mean, you talk about the touchdowns, Timberly, but he also had 4 incompletions, fewer than touchdowns. He was 9 for 9 on throws over 10 yards. He had the highest QBR ever. He broke the game, and playoffs are about matchups. And when I look at these other quarterbacks, I think that Patrick Mahomes, who has been fantastic, is facing a better defense, a very well-coached defense in Buffalo. I think Aaron Rodgers is going against maybe the best standard 4-man rush in the postseason. I think Tom Brady is down his incredible right tackle, whereas Josh Allen, I don't see how the Chiefs can defend him. If they play their usual man coverage as much as they do, he will shred them with his arm or his legs. Maybe I'm wrong. He's been inconsistent, but I'm going to ride this way.
One vote for Mahomes, 1 vote for Allen, the QB you most want to have this weekend, Harry Lyles Jr.?
You know, as much as I would like to pick one of my doppelgangers in Patrick Mahomes or ride the hot hand with Josh Allen, I am going to go with the person that we believe is going to win the MVP, and that's Aaron Rodgers. He's going up against a San Francisco 49ers team that is allowing a 68.3 completion percentage, which is 4th worst in the NFL. Look, Aaron Rodgers, still great. Has Devontae Adams, one of the best wide receivers in the game. They're playing at a great clip. It feels like this is their year. I'm going off of that feeling. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers.
All right, so now we have 3 selections. Tinsley, you can break the tie some way, or you can go off table.
I'm only going 1 pick, baby. I'm going my man Jackpot Joey. I'm going Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Look, I get
Seriously?
Tennessee's defense has gotten a lot better over the season, but they have a vulnerability in their secondary. Look, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they've been in hostile territory before. I trust them in these big games. They thrive off the big play. And you know what? At some point, a number 1 overall quarterback has to make a conference championship game within his first 2 seasons. Why not my dog, Jackpot Joe?
Okay, I mean, nobody said Tom Brady, by the way, the greatest quarterback of all time. Nobody said that. I thought everyone was going to say Mahomes.
That was too easy.
I was trying to get you to... Joel Embiid, 50 points in 27 minutes of action last night on the Magic. Let's talk about it. It's the 9th highest point per minute in NBA history. You know some of the names ahead of him. Wilt, when he scored 100, Kobe, 81. There's one who had more points in fewer minutes, and it was recent. Anybody want to guess who had 52 and 26-plus minutes recently? Anyone?
Klay Thompson.
Oh, yes, I heard it from Lyles. I heard it from Tinsley. You guys are ready on the quiver there. So an all-time game for Embiid, but was it the best game of the night? The MVP, Nikola Jokic, 49-point triple-double. It was the steals and tips and assists that he had in overtime that won the game. Bonkers game over the Clippers, 130-128. Mina, who are you buying as having the game of the night?
Why you gotta make me choose? Why can't we just celebrate that we were living in a golden age of big men? No, this is sports television. I know I gotta choose, so I'm gonna roll with Jokic, even though it's very, very challenging here. Just because he carried that team, Tony. They were minus 13 without him. He scored 9 of their final 11 points. It was his 10th triple-double of the season. He is the leading candidate for MVP, and to me, this performance cemented that.
That sounds like a sports taker right there. Now, so nice of you to answer the question we asked, Mina. Harry Lyles.
I am buying Joel Embiid's efficiency here. Yes, Jokic is probably, going to win MVP again, or at least he should be considered for it. But I think with Embiid, a lot of players, a handful in NBA history have actually scored 50 points. To do it in 27 minutes, especially in the shot clock era, I think you got to go with him.
Justin Tinsley.
It's Joker, man. The Nuggets were down 15 in the second half. Mina already mentioned he scored 9 of the last 11 to end regulation. He scored 11 of the 16 in overtime. Like, this guy is unbelievable, man. It's Joker.
And Kimberly Martin.
It is Jokic because I don't want any smoke from his brothers. Have you seen them? No. The answer is Jokic. Oh, because listen, Embiid, 50 points in 27 minutes. I can't even apply my eyelashes in that time.
Okay.
But here's the difference. It's the triple-double for me. It means that with Jokic, everybody eats. It's not just him. The assists tell me that other guys can shine. The boards tell me that he's not afraid to do the dirty work, and he's on a list with Kareem. There's nothing better than that.
All right. You don't want the smoke from the Jokic brothers, but, Embiid could find you on social media just the same. We'll move on. Buy or sell two. Stetson Bennett announcing he's returning to Georgia for one more season. So they get the quarterback who brought them their first title in 41 years back. Nolan Smith also coming back. He was huge in the title game. Robert Beal, he was the team sack leader. He's coming back. But about Stetson, Harry Lyles Jr., what does his return mean? And do you think now you'd favor Georgia to repeat as champions now that they're bringing back the man who just brought him the title?
It means he's got a lot of NIL money in front of him, but I am selling that this is going to make Georgia the favorites. Look, the past two champions before 2021 Georgia, the quarterbacks of those teams were Mac Jones and Joe Burrow. Those two guys are appearing to be franchise quarterbacks in the NFL. And while Stetson Bennett proved that you can still win with a quarterback like him, it took a historically great defense to get that done. So, I think Georgia will reload, but I think ultimately Bryce Young and Alabama are going to win the title.
But what are you saying? Georgia would prefer if Bennett left then? Is that what you're saying? We'd rather not have the quarterback that just won the title for us?
Well, you can't say it out loud, but
Oh, so you are saying? I don't know what you're saying. Tinsley, how about you?
No, I think it's great that he comes back because as Harry just said, in this NIL world that we live in, he can profit off his name while still getting better as a quarterback. Whereas in years past, he might have just jumped to the NFL. But no, I don't think they're going to repeat because, again, as I said before, Saban always ends up as the man in the end. He's coming back. He's coming back reloaded and retooled.
Look at these people. No faith in Georgia. They're the number two or number three team coming into next year. They've got like the number 3 recruiting class heading into next year. They've got the best defense and guys are coming back. I don't understand how we can deny Georgia. Somebody's got to knock Saban off again.
Well, some guys are coming back, but 9 defensive starters are gone, whereas Alabama's bringing back their 2 most important players in Bryce Young and Will Anderson. On top of all of this, it's great for Stetson Bennett that he's coming back, but he might not even be the starting quarterback next year. He's going to have competition. Name to keep your eye on is Brock Vandagriff. If you thought Stetson Bennett sounded like a Succession character, Brock Vandagriff is competing with him for the job.
Yes.
He could be the number 1 boy, I guess. This is amazing for me, Harry. I understand. Stetson Bennett may not be an NFL quarterback. That shouldn't be the measure of whether you're a great college quarterback. He just won